Yeah, hi, myself Rakesh. I am an SAP and WM functional consultant. So hope all are doing well. Today I'm going to explain about SAP P2P cycle. So let's have a look on this. So yeah, the SAP P2P cycle will start from procuring of a material or product, and it will end with the payment processing to the supplier or vendor. So we can now check. Now we can check the steps involved in P2P cycles. So these are the belows. These are the steps we can expect in the cycles. The first step will be the identification of requirement, and then approval of purchase requisition, the final approval of PR, purchase requisition, or role of inventory controller. And next step will be the procurement, and next step is the step number 5 is identification of suppliers. And the step number 6 is the floating of inquiries. Next step will be the receipt of quotations. Next is the evaluation of quotation. And the ninth step will be the receipt of commercial quotations. Yeah. And also we have some other steps. So, and next step will be the negotiation, and next will be the selection of vendor. Also, we have award of contract, and also we have the purchase orders. Next, purchase order acknowledgement, advance shipping notification, and the next our next step will be the goods receipt, and our next step will be the invoice recording, and next we have the payment to supplier. Now we will see one by one each steps in detail what it contains. Okay. So now I'm going to explain each step individually. So you can just go through this explanation of each steps. The step number 1 will be the identification of requirement. So basically, when we are going to procure a material in SAP, first step will be the identification of the requirement. Okay, first we need to identify the requirement. In these steps involved the user department, like we can say the maintenance or production or sales department, administration or accounting department, like means finance departments. Anyone can identify their requirement, and they will create a requirement document that we will call it as purchase requisitions using the transaction code MA51N. So these documents normally contains the description of material or product, quantity, how much quantity they required, approximated cost, and material requirement date. That means when they are requiring that material, and preferred or standard vendor. So they have a authority to provide the vendor details. So from which vendor they want to buy this material. So that's up to them. And the second step will be the approval of PR. So once the requirement is finalized, then it will undergoes for the approval process. So once the requirement is created by respective department, it will go for the approval within that departments from higher person, like whether it can be head of the department or senior authority. So this activity we will do using ME54N or ME55. So, and also the authorized person, they have the authority to return the PR whom it's created. Okay. And also they have the authority to send back that PR for the modification. So before approving, so this is the approval of PR. So our next step will be the final approval of PR or role of inventory controller. So once the PR has been approved by the user department, that means the head of the department or senior authority, so it will available for the inventory controller. So are the material management department. So who are responsible for the handling of all the materials in the organization, inventory controller shall review the PR and they will check the open purchase orders also for that respective material. Any other scheduled or planned delivery, any other scheduled or any delivery has planned for that materials, that criteria also they will check. So if nothing is there, there is no plan, any planning delivery also is not there, and there is no existing of open PO. So then inventory control can return that PR. If any existing is there, they will return that PR or request for the user department to revise the quantity. So if any open PO for that material or any scheduled delivery is there, so they have a authority to revise the quantity or return that PR request. So if required, after the approval of inventory controller, the approved PR is available for the procurement departments. Once everything is finalized, the PR will appear in the procurement department. That means purchasing activity. So in the procurement, we will do the activity called the procuring of the materials. So if there is no planned delivery for such material, it is available to procurement. The department shall check any existing contract of the material. If any contract exists, then they will call out shall be the generated and shall be sent to existing supplier. In case no contract exists, then the procurement department shall initiate supplier search and floating enquiries. So what they will do, if there is no open PO or any delivery pending from the suppliers for that material, this is a fresh procurement. What they will do, so they will start to enquire the supplier in the outside market and uh, so further steps, what they will do, they will identify the suppliers to procure that material. So, so this will contains the floating of the inquiries also. They will inquire the suppliers using internet and outside market and some reference and all. So what they will do once they inquire the suppliers, they will start to create the uh, RFQs. They will start to send the request for quotations for the respective material using the transaction ME41. So this request for quotation will contains the description of material, technical specification of the material, quantity of the material, terms and conditions of the delivery, and what is the delivery date, that means when we require that material. So and what is the final date of submission of this quotation, and all the standards specifications we are having. So coming to next point, next steps, receiving of the quotation from the suppliers. Once we are sending the quotation, once we are requesting to the vendor to quote the quotations for the materials, what we will do, we need to wait for some deadline date, whatever date we are mentioning in the requesting of during requesting of quotation. So what we will do, so once we are receiving the quotations, we are just accepting and we are sending the RFQ to vendors. Then procurement department shall receive the quotations from the suppliers. Once they will receive the quotations from the suppliers, so this information we will it concludes technical specification of the materials and other delivery payment details of the materials also it includes once we are receiving the quotations. Then what we will do, we will evaluating that quotations so in with our technical department. So what we will do in these steps, we are just evaluating the quotations. Here, our technical department shall shortlist the quotation based on the technical specifications given by the supplier. So our next steps will be, sorry, yeah. So our next step will be the receipt of commercial quotations. Once the technical evaluation is over, the procurement department shall send the advice to shortlisted supplier. So here what we will do, once technical evaluation is completed, the commercial department will send the quotations to supplier. So we are going to shortlist this one. The commercial quotation will contains details about the payment terms, discount, etc. Quotation comparison statement is prepared by the procurement departments. Yeah, once we are receiving the quotation from all the, when that means some respective vendors, we are preparing the comparison statement among those suppliers. This comparison statement includes the delivery date, price of the unit price of the material. So everything it will conclude. So next, what we will do, we will call the vendor or supplier for the negotiation. So based upon the commercial quotation, the procurement department will shortlist the suppliers and we will invite them for negotiation. So what we will do, we will, once we will shortlist the quotations, we will invite them for the negotiation into our premise. So during the negotiation, we will have a parameters card. We will discuss about the price negotiation and quantity and price break and delivery terms and payment conditions, freight charges, everything we will discuss during the negotiation period. So after completion of negotiation, we will do the selection of vendor. So after negotiation will happen, so vendor will be the selected. The revised quotations are prepared and vendor is finalized. Okay. So once negotiation is completed, we will prepare the revised quotation and we will place the order to the vendor based on the weightage of the commercial and technical parameters and previous procurement of that vendor and delivery date and of the material, etc. So this will come to the place. Once we will place the order to the respective vendor, what we will do, we will send a formal letter to the vendor after finalizing of the vendors. We will send a LOI. So LOI is a letter of intent. It can be sent to vendor and he may ask for deposit of security or bank guarantee before signing of agreement. So he has the authority to deposit some bank guarantees before the signing of the agreement. Okay. So then, once the agreement and all it got LOI is got signed, we will place the purchase order to that respective vendor who is from rank one from our side in the comparison. The procurement department, what they will do, the procurement department, they will raise the purchase order using the transaction ME21N against to the quotation. Then it's sent to the supplier. This PO is prepared in reference of the initial document prepared in the process, that is PR. So based on the irrespective of the PR, we can raise a purchase order, and in between we can include the quotation of this PR also. So once purchase order is raised and it can be acknowledged from the vendor side. So once they are receiving the purchase order, so what they will do, they will send the acknowledgement letter to us. To the us means to the procurement department. Then they will record the purchase orders. So once they will record the purchase orders, they will start to send the sales. They will start to sell the materials as we required. So before sending that material, we will receive the advance shipping note. So it concludes when we are getting this material. That means when we are getting this material. So what is the delivery date of this material? And normally it contains the shipping details like who is the transporter, airway bill, and how many number of packages they are sending in first lot, and what is the weight of that package, and from which location we are receiving these goods. So all this information they will send in the advance shipment note. So advance shipment note will help us to make some space in our warehouse before shipment is coming to our premise, so that it will avoid the unnecessary rush during the truck has came. So once material will comes to our warehouse, what we will do, we will receive that material or goods using the transaction MIGO. So with respect to the material, with respect to the purchase order number. So once we will receive that material, it will goes for the quality inspection. So what we will do in the quality inspection, so quality inspection department will inspect that material, whether it is brokerage or damaged or any scratches is happened. So they will do the quality inspection. If anything is like any damages are happened, what they will do, they will straight away reject that materials, and we will send back that materials to the vendor. So with the proper documentation. So once if nothing is damaged and everything is okay, then we will process for the invoice recording. If anything is damaged, for example, we received 100 box. In that 100 box, 10 box are rejected. So what we will do, we will raise an invoice only for 90 bucks. So for that 90 bucks only we will do the payment. So according to the invoice received by the vendor, we will do the invoice verification using the Miro transaction, and we will send that invoice to the finance department. So what finance department will do, they will uh, pay the outstanding amount to the supplier. So then, so by paying the outstanding amount to the supplier, this process will get completed. Yeah, these are the steps involved in typical P2P cycle in SAP MM. So thank you so much. And yeah.